السلام عليكم. مساكم الله بالخير. أولا أنا سعيد جدا بلقائي لكم اليوم. يمكن لنا شهر ونص تقريبا متوقفين، دخل فيها الإجازة ودخل فيها الكسل وانشغلت شوية، فالمعذرة منكم على طول الانقطاع. اليوم إن شاء الله بدايتنا وعودا حميدا حيكون في موضوع مهم اللي هو التأشيرات الأمريكية. صار فيها بعض التغييرات بأنواعها: تأشيرة العمل، تأشيرة الصحة، تأشيرة السياحة. فحابة أنها تكلمنا اليوم السيدة كاثرين كلوم. Did I say the name correct? هي مسؤولة التأشيرات في السفارة الأمريكية، وغششني الاسم بس أنا نسيت. وينه الأخ محمد؟
قدامك.
إيش قلت لي؟ مديرة شؤون التأشيرات. أنا يا أخي شوية ألخبط. على العموم احنا الآن بنترك لها المجال طبعا تعرف على نفسها وتتكلم شوية عن الموضوع. حابب بس أنا أنبه عن شغلة، إنه خلي أسئلتنا ومداخلاتنا تكون مختصرة وسريعة، وثانيا يا ريت إنها تكون مخصصة لموضوع التأشيرات. يعني ما نبغى نتطرق لأمور ثانية في أمريكا واسعة وكبيرة وما شاء الله تبارك الله اتجاهاتها، لكن خلونا نركز على التأشيرات وما يدور حوالينها عشان نبعد من الحرج. طبعا أكرر شكري لكم على الزيارة، وحابب برضو كلمتين إنجليزي على أساس تفهم إحنا إيش قلنا. I was introducing you to them and I said we should spend a good time inshallah together. You will be explaining about different type of visas or how to get the visa. And I ask my friends here to concentrate on visa matters, not to talk about any other things in America or something. Just talk about the visa and how to get the visa to America. Okay. I will give you the mic. Please introduce yourself the way you like, and then maybe you can give us a brief of what we are going to talk about the visa. I didn't introduce your name, please.
Hi, my name is Julianne. I'm the political and economic officer here, and I've been here since April, so about 9 months.
Good evening. My name is Alden Green. I'm one of the consular officers working at the consulate here in Tehran.
على فكرة يا جماعة، القنصل الأمريكي السيدة راشنا كورهون هي اتصلت وقالت أنا بتأخر شوية بس عندها ارتباط ثاني، ولكن إن شاء الله راح تيجي وتحضر معنا الاختتام. Please start.
Okay.
You are most welcome.
So as he said, my name is Kathy. I'm the consular section chief here at the Consul General in Tehran, and I've been here for about 2 months. I spent a few years in Bahrain before this and some time in the northern part of Iraq, so I really like the area, and I'm very happy to be in the kingdom, and especially in the eastern province. I spent years in Bahrain wondering what was on the other side of the causeway, and now I'm finding it out, so I'm really happy to be here. I know that there's a lot of interest in visas, and we see about 100, 120, 150 applicants every day. We're constantly looking at our numbers to make sure that the people who are needing visas are able to get in to be interviewed. And you know, I know that there's many different countries that don't require an interview. At this time, we require an interview. We're trying to make it as painless as possible for everybody and get you in and out of our waiting room as quickly as possible. We've been looking at some of our processes recently to make that a quicker and easier process so that people can get in and out. And we're going to be looking at some of the other things to make sure that the passports, when we're done with them, get back to you quickly as well. There's some things that we can control in the whole visa issuing process, and there's things that we can't control. I know that there's a lot of questions about when we have to do administrative processing. Unfortunately, we don't control a lot of that. We most of the time don't have a say when we have to do it and when we don't have to do it. There's questions that we have to ask of you, and we ask that you fill those out or answer those questions as best you can, because that helps all of us get your visa done as soon as possible. There's other times, we've had some other questions about reciprocity, what we call the length of the visa. At this time, most Saudi citizens for most types of visas get a 5-year visa. Again, that's not something that we decide, that's decided back in Washington, and that could change, but we haven't been told of any changes coming up sooner or anytime soon. So I'm trying to think of some of the other questions that we've had recently. We do get many Saudi students, and it's always great to see somebody who's going to be a student. They're young and they're full of excitement. So those are nice interviews for us. We enjoy doing those. The process for getting a student visa is a bit more complicated than for a tourist visa, and so there's a lot of preparation that goes into that. And so I think most of the times when we have students who are having difficulties getting visas, most of the time there's some sort of a little problem in the process. Like they have to have an extra form from their school. Sometimes they don't have the form. There's extra fees that they have to pay. Sometimes they haven't paid those fees. So I think that's it for my part of it. But we do want to encourage people to apply for U.S. visas, not to be afraid of applying for U.S. visas. We're here to facilitate travel to the United States, and there's lots of reasons people go from Saudi Arabia to the U.S., visiting family, visiting children who are studying there, going for business opportunities, going on a road trip, seeing some of the tourist sites. New York is popular, California, Florida. Yeah, so there's lots of reasons that people go, and we do encourage you. And we do want to say that for the most parts, we approve most Saudi visas. I don't have the percentage here, but it's a high percentage that we issue. And most of the time when we can't issue right away, then we're able to issue later after the administrative processing. I guess one of the things I will say is that sometimes it happens where at the interview we think everything is fine, and then the system tells us later that we have to do administrative processing. And I know that causes some confusion where people think that they are going to get the visa, and then we ask them more questions, and then there's a delay. And so unfortunately, there's not much we can do about the delay. So we do encourage everybody to apply early, and then hopefully everything will be back by the time you actually have to travel. So I think that's it for my part. Are there questions? I think it's going to mostly come from questions. So do people have questions? I assume they do.
We can get the visa directly from the airports in U.S., like what's happening now in UK, that you can come and apply immediately for Saudis.
Yes, so that's always a possibility, but that is not the State Department. So that's all controlled by the Department of Homeland Security, and there's a long list of things that has to happen before they'll even start to consider it. One of the things is that the reciprocity, I believe, has to already be at 10 years. So Saudi would have to start giving Americans 10-year multiple entry visas. So that's just one of the things. The other thing is that the American, what you're talking about is called, in what we call it is a visa waiver program. And for the visa waiver program, it's only 2 months that you can be in the United States. You can't extend it and you can't change it. So even if you had visa waiver program, many Saudis would find that they would rather get the visa anyway because it gives you more flexibility. So visa waiver is really designed for people going on a short vacation, whereas we find a lot of Saudis when they travel, they like the flexibility of extending their stay, or maybe they originally were going to visit a child studying, but then another child comes and they go there, or then they have some business that they want to do. So the visa waiver program would limit them very strictly to just a 2-month visit.
If in case somebody have applied and then there is no rejection, but there is no comment at all that they are giving or no giving, but they return the passport. And then when they start to apply again, the system does not accept them. Does that mean they are rejected?
There's no comment. We always, if it's a refusal, we always give a piece of paper that says that they're refused.
No,
So if they haven't gotten one, it's probably administrative processing that we're going through, and then that's a wait time. So the applying again and it rejects them, that might be
No, they didn't apply. They tried to get through the system, but the system said to them that you already have information already exists, so that's why they were not able to get it again.
So that sounds like a feature of the application that we use for applying for visas. It's sort of a 2-step process. So there's the process of filling out an application, and you can only use the application one time. So you always have to fill out another application. The second step is to go through the website of the company that's helping us manage a lot of aspects of the process, like the passback of the passports and making sure that the fee gets paid. So that second step has to do with them. And so it could be that there's something with the profile that's messed up a little bit.
Possible. So how
that's one of the things that we're checking on, is to check with customers and find out their experience with the whole process, especially that second part of it, to see if there's, if things are not working correctly.
So what do they do then in that case? What the person have to do?
Well, I think if it's the second one, they have to create a new profile, I believe. But I don't have the absolute answer. People can email us with these kinds of questions.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm not a technical expert on all of that. But I know that some of my colleagues who work in other places have said that sometimes there's a name confusion with different alphabets into English, or different letters of the alphabet that we don't have in American English. Including some of the European letters in their names that don't transfer well, and so then it causes some of these types of
problems.
Yeah, problems.
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, my name is Ali Jafar. I'm trying to apply the visa to myself and my family. I'm planning to visit the U.S. During the summertime, but I'm really worried about the hassle that I'm going to go through applying through the website, because it will take me to some various links, and I need to apply first my username and then password, and then go to other links as well. I'm not sure if this is going to be happening to me, because I've tried this in the past. I was not able to, get the visa right away, direct, but I had to go through that, hurdles. So I'm not sure if this is going to be happening again. That's my question. Thank you.
Okay, so I mean that sounds like what we were just speaking about, the 2-step process. So one of the things that's important when you go through the first step is to make sure that you have the barcode number. There's a confirmation number. Make sure you save that page, because that can help us. If on the second step you're unable to do the interview, like make the appointment, or you're having problems, if you email us and you have all those confirmation numbers, we can look in the system and help troubleshoot what the problem is. Sometimes the second step is there's a little bit of a technical problem that might have happened to you the last time. So I'm sorry, it's not. This is not real. It's not a simple kind of situation because there's different things coming together all in that application. So we can blame the computer guys, but they're not here. So, but all of this is very helpful for us to figure out and pass back to Washington, who's telling us to use this application that some things are not very user friendly. So, sorry the experience you had.
Catherine, here.
Yes, there you are.
Yeah. Thanks for your elaboration about the visas. The question is, if everything is okay and I'm applying a tourist visa, what's the average time for me to get my visa? When I get all the interview and everything, a week, 2 weeks, a month?
So right now, and anyone who's interested can go to travel.state.gov and click on visas, and then down on the bottom part of the page, there's a place where you can put in the place that you're applying. So you can put in Dhahran, and our wait times are listed there. So that gives you the time from the appointment to when, or from the time you fill out the application to when you can make an appointment. So that time period right now is about 3 weeks here. Okay, so then you come in for the interview, then the pass back, we usually try and print the next day, the next business day, and get them back through the courier. So if everything is fine, that part of it should just be, I think with the courier process, it adds a couple days. So about 3 to 4 days after the interview, you should have your passport. So at this point, the whole process is about a month.
The whole process is about a month?
Yeah, so from filling out the application, paying, making the appointment, going to the appointment, and then us doing the visa and getting it back to you.
The other question is, are we getting only a 5 years visa? Is there a possibility that I can get 10 years visa?
So at this point, for tourist visas, student visas, business visas, it's a 5-year. That's always subject to change. It's based on what the other country is giving Americans. So if Saudi starts giving Americans 10-year multiple entry visas, then there's a possibility that at some point Saudis could also get the same.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Narayan Menon. I belong to the Sالم بالحمر group. Been with the group for the last 20-25 years. We have a plan to come into the US and form a company, go into business in US. For that purpose, we have formed a corporation in California, and I have applied for a L1 visa to come down there and establish the business. This has been done in October, and I've been told on the website that the results or the next step should be informed to us by February. What I would like to ask you is that are L1 visas being issued to Saudi companies, and is there any points that I should be careful about with respect to the L1 visa?
So my colleague is actually better at L1s than I am, but he's looking a little bit shocked. But we definitely issue L1 visas here in Dhahran. We actually have special appointments for them. So there's almost no wait time at all for an L1 once your petition is approved. So one of the features about an L1 visa is that the Department of Homeland Security is the one that decides whether you get the visa or not. So they make the decision, they issue the petition, and then once you have that in your hand, then you can make the appointment.
So it's done at Washington, it's not at the Saudi consulate?
Well, the petition part of it is done in the U.S. I don't know if it's done in Washington, but anyway, the Department of Homeland Security is the one that makes the decision, and then you come in and we do an interview. It's mostly to make sure that what you said on paper is what you are. So it's that kind of a visa interview. So it's a different set of questions than we ask travelers or visitors and things like that. But we issue them all the time. and like I said, every day we have open appointments that are most of the time not used. Now, there are other fees that are put on that, and I don't have those off the top of my, I don't know those,
yes.
but those can be paid, those extra fees can be paid at the consulate. And we'll make provisions if you don't have the funds that day, we'll certainly make arrangements for that to happen another day. So, yeah, I hope that helps.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
does help. One last question. I have applied for this N1 visa. N1 visa, at that time, even my wife and my daughter to also apply for the L2. Now, my daughter happens to study in India. So can she apply for the L2 from India, or she has to be here for that purpose?
For an L2?
Yep.
So one of the things that for business visas and tourist visas and student visas that we have to consider is if somebody overcomes the presumption that they're an intending immigrant. So in those kinds of cases, it helps if they're applying where they're residing. However, an L visa and an L2 visa, that's a question we're not allowed to even consider. So it doesn't really matter for an L visa where she applies. If it's easier for her to come and have the petition with her, because, well, whoever applies is going to need to see the same kind of stuff, it probably makes more sense for her to come and apply here with you than it would for her to do it in India, because, yeah, they might have some other questions.
The whole process could be done, yes.
Yeah, so in that case, it's probably easier, if it's possible, for her to do it here, but there's no
restriction on
But
that.
I don't think there's any restriction at all, yeah.
Thank you
on
very
that,
much.
yeah.
Thank you.
I want to go to Seattle. There is my girl in the studio.
He have a question regarding the visa, to apply for a visa. He's a Yemeni national, and his daughter studies in the United States, and she's sponsored over there by one of the entities for her studies, and she studies as civil engineer. So what is the conditions, and if you have any recommendation regarding how to apply?
So at this point, it's very difficult for people from Yemen to get visas to the U.S. There's some information that's constantly updated on our website about the presidential proclamation. So I would just have his daughter keep, watching that, and then she can tell him when it's a good time for him to apply.
I'm from King Fahd University. My colleague is a Yemeni, and he has already gone there to the United States, and he had a previous visa. Now he wants to apply again. He is Yemeni. And I contacted by email the consulate. They said it can be worked out with you guys.
So this gets into some very specific things about the presidential order. So it's best if he contacts us and we can see.
Very good.
Yeah, so
Very
I think it's best if he contacts us directly instead of getting into all of the
Exactly.
nuances. Yeah.
By email?
Yes,
Okay.
by email. Yeah.
To you, Kaatheriin, huh?
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Regarding the U.S. custom facility in Jeddah, is this happening? Because I've heard like 3 years ago that we're going to be getting clearance from Jeddah all the way to the United States. So is this happening still or not?
So that was a question that came up about a week or so ago. Do you want to answer? I can take it. Yeah.
So the answer is not right now. It's under discussion. It's something that I think everybody wants. It's a decision that takes a while to get through the U.S. government. But I'm hoping, inshallah. But honestly, I would love to get an American airline coming to Dhahran. So that would be my first wish. So if you get a direct flight from here to New York, I'd be very happy. I think if you guys got a direct flight from here to Houston, you'd be really happy too, right? So if we could just get to that step, I'd love to get that started. And we've had some conversation with a couple of the airlines, so I'm really hoping that somebody will start that to get going, and then inshallah, hopefully, at some point in the future, you'll see the immigration customs happening in Jeddah or here. I don't know. Good question. Thanks.
Thank you. My name is Faisal Jafar, and I'm really glad, and I'd like to thank Saalem بالحمر, who gave us the opportunity to see you, ladies and gentlemen, here, and to actually to reiterate the message of the deep appreciation of you, lady, because I've seen you a lot in the media, and I'd like to see, I really appreciate the great role that you're playing in supporting the relationship between Saudi Arabia and the United States. النصر. You like الاتفاق. I'm a Nasrawi, by the way, but I like الاتفاق anyways. My son plays for الاتفاق. But really, you know, we have a verse in our religion saying that whoever does not, thank God will not thank people. So we'd like to thank you and thank your team as well for your really supportive and your communication and contacts with our social and our community, and to strengthen the relationships. Now again, I'd like also to reiterate the message that we really feel big change in terms of the easiness when we get the visas, be it for students, our sons. My son is studying there in West Virginia, and my nephews as well. So now we find a really big difference in terms of the easy process and the streamlined process that you've contributed to into the consulate. And again, we all wish to have it more and more easier. So we are a bit, greedy in that, so bear with us. Thank you very much again, and thank you, Saalem, for really giving us this golden opportunity to see the blessing lady and the gentleman here.
أشكركم أخواني على الحضور، وإن شاء الله يكون استفدنا من المعلومات الطيبة اللي أعطتنا إياها. وأحب أرحب بالقنصل العام الأمريكي الأخت راشنا كورهون. You would like to say anything, please? Yes.
Thank you so much. First of all, I really appreciate the words. It takes a team, and my team is amazing. And I can tell you that the previous consular chief and the current consular chief have really made a huge effort to make sure that people are treated nicely. And whether you get a visa or not is not the question, but it's how we treat you. So customer service is really important to us. But it's pretty easy. Most people get a visa when you come to the consulate. That's just the way it is here. And I think it speaks for the relationship between our two countries that's how it is, right? That's exactly why. It is because of the strong relationship that has been going on for over 80 years at this point. And I want to just say that on February 14th this year, it'll be 75 years since President Roosevelt and King Saud met on the USS Quincy. So on Valentine's Day, this relationship was started. And I hope it continues as beautifully. And I have to tell you that Saalem has also really treated the consulate and me. It was very easy to call him last week and say, hey, I want to do this because I really wanted for Kathy. So this is a two-way street. I wanted you to be able to ask questions, but also for her, since she's new, to get an understanding of what this place is about. And this is an amazing way of doing it. Nothing like this exists anywhere else in the world where you have people who get together and really talk about everyday stuff. So thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you so much for letting us use your diwania. And I hope we continue this relationship for 800 years or so. Thank you.
Thank you very much for everything you have said, and thank you very much, Mrs. Kathy. And أشكر الحضور كلهم إن شاء الله. الله يسلمك. شكرك وصل، الله يبارك فيك. ما قصرت. شكرا يا أخوان، شكرا.